Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Teen Talk Central. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about social media detox and why your brain needs a break. Have you ever felt mentally drained after scrolling for hours? Because let me tell you, you are absolutely not alone. I think it's really important to take breaks from social media, even though our current lives are literally surrounded with like social media and like the idea that you have to post everything that you do. We're also going to be talking about how social media affects our brain and behavior, and we're going to do a quick little roadmap at the end and discuss effects, psychological theories, and practical detox strategies. So without further ado, let's get in with today's episode. So first, I want to talk about why we are hooked. Like, why are we so interested in social media and the idea of scrolling, also called doom scrolling? It is because dopamine, and if you kind of know what dopamine is, it's a reward system. So it's kind of like the feel-good thing that kind of goes through your body whenever you're scrolling. So, for example, social media is like instant gratification. So likes and comments and reposts and shares, they're all like dopamine hits. It's like kind of like gambling or drug use, but in a less, physically harmful way. And also, it's like an intermittent reinforcement. So it's like because we get these small bursts, we want to continue watching and scrolling because we feel good during the moments that we do watch it. And you always want to feel good and you always want to have dopamine in your system. So that translates to constantly being on there. It's kind of similar to like, I guess like a slot machine. Sometimes it's like we get a like and sometimes we don't. And then that kind of like uncertainty drags us into the idea that like social media is super interesting and we want to like keep going back on it because it's like, okay, this post didn't get that many likes, but maybe my next one will, and then you want to post again and again and again, if that makes sense to people who kind of like understand. Next, I want to talk about how the psychological impacts behind overusing social media. So it can lead to cognitive load and attention kind of difficulties. So too much content means that your brain would be overwhelmed and then your attention span decreases because on social media there's so much that you can see and watch. Like there's so many options that you start to slowly lose your attention span that you used to have, which has been kind of psychologically proven as social media has become more prominent in people's lives. Studies show that teenagers' attention spans are naturally getting shorter and shorter because of the content that we watch. It kind of ties into selective attention and multitasking inefficiency, so then you kind of slowly lose the idea of focusing on one specific thing at a time. And another thing, we've talked about this a lot, is self-concept and social comparison theory. This was literally my last episode. We were talking about distorted self-images from the constant exposure of curated lives. So you see one person living this amazing life when it's actually not their whole life. It's like, a minute and 30, maybe max, like a 30-minute segment of their 24-hour day. And if you want to learn more about that was my previous episode. And then it also just like upward social comparison, again, same thing, lower self-esteem. We've been through this so many times. And then FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's just like the idea that you are not doing something, so instead you want to watch people do it and you want to vicariously live through people for certain things that's interesting, like the Oscars or the Grammys, something that's like a bit more selective. But at the end of the day, like seeing like other people from schools going to like parties and stuff, it's like because you feel like you're missing out, you want to continue to watch their content. And then this links to like the evolutionary psychology aspect where it's like we're wired to stay connected for survival. So it's like because we want to see what everyone else is doing, we will naturally kind of go towards what is being shared that's kind of within our similar interest. So now, why is social media detox super important? Well, it restores your dopamine sensitivity, and it's like your body kind of relearns how you can have less reliance on instant gratification and more on like real life joys. So for example, today I am going to a friend's birthday dinner. Like that is a boost of dopamine instead of me watching 5 minutes of TikTok, right? It's more of a longer lasting dopamine effect because I'm going to be with someone for longer, for example. So kind of like learning how to get segments of joy in your life without having to use social media, I think is really important. And also it ties into neuroplasticity and how like your brain can rewire its habits after being rewired once already. Because when we were younger, at least in my age, we didn't have that much social media when I was like 5, but then slowly as we get older, it's become a more popular thing. And now like it's like middle schoolers these days are like hooked on social media, so they are gonna have a completely different lifestyle and kind of brain chemistry than we did when we were that age, even though we're not that far apart in age. And also it improves mental health, less anxiety, better self-esteem, improves sleep, all that stuff. We know that social media has ruined kids' sleep patterns. Kids stay up 2 to 3 hours later than they used to just because they want to scroll on social media a little bit more. And sleep is super important for you. Without sleep, you can't grow. If you are trying to, gain muscle and like do all that fitness stuff, like sleep helps you build your muscle and like relax your body and kind of recharge it. And then also it just like allows you to have more human presence instead of trying to rely on social media to see people. Like instead of using 1 hour to scroll on TikTok, you can use 1 hour to hang out with a friend at the park or something like that, whatever you want, go shopping. So now how do you exactly detox and refresh your feed? Now that is a great question. First, you want to set boundaries. So screen time limits and no social media before bed. I know that sounds hard. You can have a parent set up screen time, a friend who knows the password, not you, because obviously if you know the password, you're going to want to bypass it, but eventually you're going to learn like, okay, wait, I don't need to rely on it. And it's like those 15 minutes you would rather treasure, and it's like you'd rather watch something really interesting than just watch random stuff, and then I personally do like no screen time an hour before bed, and I think that's really important, and it helps a lot to like make sure that you maintain your kind of circadian rhythm and allows for good sleep. And I think it's like the blue light really affects your sleep in the way like the amount of time that you sleep. Even if you go to sleep at 9, if you're watching content until like right before you're going to bed, it's going to delay the time you actually fall asleep, even though you may like get into bed at 9. Also curate your feed to like positive stuff only. Like don't curate your feed to have only TikTok dances and all that stuff. Well, although watching that could be fun sometimes, maybe make it more educational. Like if you're really interested in something, maybe start searching up certain things on TikTok, because TikTok will see that and then they'll curate stuff on your feed based off of your search, which is also a little bit scary. But it's also nice because then at least the content you're watching, it's like you actually want to watch and you're not just like scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And so like unfollow anyone that's like spreading negativity or stuff like that, and just really try to follow educational and mental like stuff that's good for you and will be beneficial for you. And then also kind of finding new hobbies. Instead of scrolling on TikTok, you can journal, you can go outside, you can paint, you can color, you can I don't really know. You can play a sport. There's so many other things that you can do besides scrolling on social media. You can start a podcast with your friends, for example. Like there's a bunch of other things that you could do with your time instead of scrolling on social media that I think is really, really important. And I've tried to start that as well. I've tried to do journaling. I'm starting to color and paint again. So it's like doing like small things like that can really help you in the future. And your future self will definitely thank you when you break the habit of scrolling. Doom scrolling is so, so scary, and it's so bad for you. So now I want to give you guys a little challenge. For the next 24 hours, I want you guys to detox, not go on any social media, maybe Snapchat only, if that's considered social media, and just kind of see how you feel and reflect and journal that. And if that made you feel really good, then maybe try 3 days, maybe try 5 days. Just slowly expand the challenge. Maybe you can get your friends involved. You can make it a challenge, and it's like, okay, whoever goes the longest without social media will get, I don't know, a new bag or something. Like make it so that there's like a reward system, because then you will want to do it more, and then eventually you'll realize you don't even need it, and then you're gonna be like, okay, I don't need the reward system, I just want to do this for myself. And then that becomes just a daily habit. Then eventually you will become a person that only uses social media when they really, really need to. Now I'm not saying get off of social media completely, because I know this in our day and age, like social media is like a really important way to like keep up with people. And like if you go to college, then like you're not going to see these people all the time, but just detoxing a little bit can really, really help you to change and break that cycle. So if you guys have any thoughts, please DM us on Teen Talk Central on Instagram, and maybe share your detox experience. And yeah, let us know how this detox feels for you in the next 24 hours, maybe 3 days, a week, 2 weeks, a month, a year. Let me know. And I just want to sign off with a final thought. And says your mind deserves a rest, so give it the rest it needs. Sometimes not scrolling for a day can be the biggest blessing in disguise, and you're not going to miss much. If you really want to see something, you can ask other people what it is, or you can try to have real life conversations, maybe read the news, stuff like that, just to get your mind flowing. And yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your week, and remember that detoxing is important and it's not embarrassing to do at all. If it's good for you, then prioritize yourself. And if you guys have any episode requests that you want, you guys can go to our Instagram and we have a highlight where you can request certain episodes. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, let us know, and maybe share this with a friend. And without kind of pushing yourself too much, just try to detox and relax a little bit. I know AP tests are coming up, so maybe you can detox during that time and really lock in, and then maybe the reward could be during summer break. But yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I will see you guys in another episode next week. Bye.